And we want to begin tonight with Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan for an update on Milton. Tim.
All right, thank you, Anthony and Jeannie. So much to talk about. I'm going to just get to the headlines. First of all, again, Milton is cooperating with the forecast, and we're beginning to now see the turn more toward the right. It had been moving straight northeast through the afternoon in a pretty quick pace. And of course, if it had continued that would have been even worse for us. But we do see it make the turn, unfortunately, for our friends in the Tampa Bay area, and especially Sarasota, Bradenton, and just off to the south. And then pretty much taking I-4, we talked about the fact that, well, here's the track we're expecting. And what's this about 8 a.m.? Again, I'm emphasizing that because that's going to be its nearest point to the first coast. So that's going to be about when our winds will peak, gradually increase to about 8 a.m. and then gradually drop off. The heaviest rains will probably taper off pretty dramatically at about 8 o'clock in the morning. All day long, steady to occasionally heavy rain well south of Duval. You folks in St. Johns, Putnam counties have been well aware of that, but now the downpours are beginning to spread inland and spread northward, and that will continue now for the rest of the night into the early morning hours. But the rains have been persistent enough to where flash flood warnings have been up and will stay up from the World Golf Village south through St. Johns County, maybe extreme southeastern Clay County, and certainly for those of you in Putnam County. And when we talk about rainfall totals of 12, maybe once it's all said and done, 18 inches, that's going to be for southern Putnam County and southern St. Johns County. For those of us farther off to the north, much less. And one of the reasons why is because not only drier air, but cooler air. But what about those tornadoes? Well, we're seeing some positive signs here, and that is that, well, we don't have any left now. There were numerous hours during the afternoon where we almost couldn't count, 10 to 15 tornado warnings at a time, but all of that is headed offshore over the warmer waters. And I'm also emphasizing that because temperature will be key through the night tonight. Remember, the hurricane is turning because of the front that came through our area, the cool front, and it stalled over I-4. There's a lot of ingredients going on, but that's basically bottom line on the ground why the hurricane is turning. Well, as the hurricane heads to the east and northeast and generally in our direction, our winds northerly are bringing in cooler air. The cooler the air is on the surface, the harder it is for those higher winds to get down to where we are. In other words, that's a good thing. But notice where the temperatures are warmest, out around the beaches, and that's where the winds will be highest. That's why I want to make this emphasis, that although by far the highest winds are going to be south of St. Augustine and in southern Putnam County, even as far north as Duval and Nassau County, over the wider sections of the St. Johns and of the estuaries of Nassau County, where the waters are warmer, and they are, there will be some sustained winds of up to 50 and some gusts to 75. So keep that in mind, those of you right on the banks and right on the beaches. What about the combination of heavy rain and high tide? We think the most critical high tide will be at the beach at 2 a.m. My main concern on the islands up and down northeast Florida and southeastern Georgia is not oceanfront. It's on the estuary side. It's on the intracoastal side. For the St. Johns, here's your point to notice, and that is the Main Street Bridge at 4 a.m. We are not comparing it to Irma in a general sense. Going to have a discussion with Jeannie, and we'll talk about that very specifically. What about the winds? What's this? I think we all understand what hurricane force winds are, 74 or more, and then tropical storm force winds, which are 40 more. What's this damaging winds? It's why we focus so much on 60 miles per hour. 50 knots is what the Hurricane Center watches, and that's what this is. And we're not going to have hurricane force winds. Even those of you over southern St. Johns County, I think hurricane force gust at the most. But watch at tomorrow morning, mid-morning, as it exits the coast and the wind field expands, the northern extent of those damaging winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds, will make it to up about the St. Augustine area and Palatka. Keep that in mind. We're going to talk more about comparing this hurricane with Irma and even Matthew in just a few moments.